Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host Avik, and today we are diving into a conversation that is going to challenge the way you think about success, fulfillment, and what it really means to perform at your peak, not just in the business, but also in life. And we live in a world that glorifies the grind. So, where burnout is almost a badge of honor. So, what do you say to listeners? So, I mean, but what happens when the very success you chased leaves you feeling empty? And what if true freedom isn't about achieving more, but it's all about mastering yourself? Great to think, right? Do let me know in the comment section or maybe in the social media. Would love to hear from you, dear listeners. And my guest today is Matthias Schmitt. So, welcome to the show, Matthias.
Thank you, Avik. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Lovely, lovely. So, dear listeners, before we get deep into this discussion today, before we do that, I'll quickly love to introduce you to Matthias. So, Matthias knows this firsthand. So, he is a four times founder and executive coach and the creator of expansion state method. So on paper he had all the multi-million dollar companies, high power teams, and a life that looked wildly successful, but behind the scenes, that's most interesting, right? He was struggling with panic attacks, drinking heavily, and feeling lost. Yes. And it took him hitting rock bottom on a paradise beach in Guatemala to completely shift his life. And now he helps high achieving men uh, navigate that messy, often painful uh, transition from external success to true fulfillment, integrating neuroscience, nervous system mastery, and uh, ancient wisdom to help people unlock their highest potential. So today we will be tackling with some great topics, or I would say a kind of questions, which I'll also would love to hear back from all of you. So let's, without further ado, let's get started. So I'll quickly introduce. Dear Matthias, it's really great to have you on the show here.
Yeah, so good. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Awesome. I'm excited.
Lovely, lovely. So that is like burnout to fulfillment. It's really a wake up call. Um, so when you were staring out of your window in Munich, feeling completely lost, despite of having built these massively successful companies, what was really going through in your mind that time?
Yeah, I mean, I was laying in bed and actually a woman had just left my apartment on that morning where I had that realization because I had
Yeah.
spent the night with her and she left my bedroom and went out the front door. And then a few months later, there was silence. But in my head, there was like a lot of turmoil, actually. There was a lot of chaos. So the thoughts and the questions that I was asking myself was like,
Okay.
why am I not happy, right? Why am I not happy even though I should be happy, even though I did everything that society told me that
Mhm.
success looks like. Why am I still not happy? Like, why do I need to have those distractions? And I was looking at my phone and I was just going to text the next woman or go on the next adventure. But something inside of me was like, stop, like, don't do that.
Mhm. So like um I have to. You mentioned about this definitely, because that woman left the apartment. So, was there a specific breaking point? Or it's a kind of slow realization that built up over time. So, what do you say?
I had read a book by Eckhart Tolle
Okay.
a few years earlier, and in that book, I realized
Hmm.
after reading that book, it was called A New World, create a better life, a new earth, create a better life. And in that book, actually, after reading it, I
Mhm.
realized, hey, I can actually observe my thoughts, I can observe my emotions, and I can actually um,
Mhm.
stir them in a way, right? So if I'm reacting to something, I all of a sudden had like a little moment in between a trigger, like when somebody would be mad or angry at me, and my reaction. So that was the first time that I thought, wow, like I don't actually have to do everything that I thought I need to do, but I
Mhm.
have a choice here. I have a choice in life. And I don't only have to react, I can actually act in the way that I want to act and that I want to live. Um, and so the that was the first time that I
Mhm.
came into contact with something like like more like a personal insight into things. And that then over the time probably grew in some kind of way. But that moment when I was laying in my bed in my apartment, I really had that wake up call of, okay, let's stop. Stop what you're doing and go inside of yourself because what you've been doing has not worked. And I wanted to know what's in there. I wanted to know what's missing. And I also wanted to know how to live a life of integrity and how to be a man that is actually, that is successful in the materialistic sense, but is also happy and fulfilled and not just grinding to have that look, that expectation from the outside, but internally feeling empty and lost like I was. Like there was little meaning in inside of me. I felt not meaningful with the life that I was leading.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, it's really powerful. I mean, I think so many people can relate that feeling of achieving what they thought would make them happy, only to feel more disconnected than ever. So, and yet most don't know what to do next, and they either push harder or maybe numb out also. So. Uh,
Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, this could be a scenario also, yes. So, yeah. And also, like, regarding emotional mastery, you talk a lot about emotional mastery and the self-leadership as
Mhm.
the gateway to the freedom. But for someone who has spent their kind of life optimizing for the results, not the emotions, what do you say? I mean, where do they even start?
Mm, that's a very powerful question.
Mhm.
Where do they actually start with mastering their emotions and the self leadership in the end, right? So for me, back in the time, it was normal to drink alcohol, when I was not feeling well. It was normal like to have unconscious sex and to
Mhm.
go out to party if I was not feeling well, right? To distract myself from actually what's going on. And what I've realized though over the time, like that led me into an identity crisis, that led me into burnout because I was not actually feeling the feelings, feeling the emotions, because emotions get produced by our head in order to tell ourselves, hey, there's something maybe wrong. If you feel anger, that's actually your body or your system telling you, I have to set boundaries, right? This is not the right situation for me. And the question is always, is this triggered by something that you have experienced in the past, right? Is this like an overemphasize of the situation? Is
Yeah.
that maybe a conditioning that you have been patterned with from maybe early childhood, where you always reacted in those situations very angry? And then all of a sudden, when you're an adult, these situations come to you and it's actually an overreaction, right? This is always the question. Or if this really genuinely true, is this anger telling you to step out of the situation? So we're working with the two sides here. And it's so important that I think the first step to do is create awareness around emotions. So you were asking, how can people actually start with that? So the first thing is create awareness. And this is in neuroscience, it's called cognitive awareness. Cognitive awareness is, in the end, observing our thoughts, our mental constructs, our emotions, our physical body as well. Like, for example, where am I in the room is a cognitive awareness.
Yeah.
And also, what emotions do I have actually? What emotions am I having on a daily basis is also a cognitive awareness. And what thoughts do I have? Because the thoughts lead to the emotion, and the emotion leads to the next thought. Because a genuine emotion is only 60 to 90 seconds long and then it's gone. You can see that with babies. They cry, and then a couple of minutes later, they're fine again, right? But with adults, we create this loop because of the neural pathways that have been formed over years and years and years of reacting the same way. So it's like a super highway in the brain where always the same thoughts trigger the same emotions. So, in order to use emotions and to master our emotions to actually self lead into different directions towards the goal that we really want to achieve, and not the ones that we have been patterned and conditioned to achieve, actually to go to the goal that we want to genuinely, because we want to be have the full human experience. We want to be free. We want to live our life to the fullest and unfold our fullest potential. We need to first create the awareness around what emotions, thoughts are triggered, and then secondly, learn to regulate into a state of what I call expansion, right? Back into a state of expansion. So, example, I'm having a fight with my co-founder in the company, or yeah, I'm having a fight with my co-founder. And for me, that was the case actually. I felt personally insulted, right? A
Mhm.
lot of people can probably relate to that. Feeling personally insulted is something that I've experienced a lot in my life. And that was a belief that I created about myself, that my actual voice doesn't really matter, and that I'm not able to defend myself in the way that the other person receives me, right? So whenever I was faced with critique or with maybe a little bit more intense conflict, I went into like a shutdown,
Mhm.
like of the nervous system, and I protected myself in a way that I got really impulsive. And then this led into like a conflict. So the regulation here would be to learn that this is actually not an attack for the nervous system, but it's actually just a critique. And these old patterns made my nervous system react in the same way that it did for years and years and years. So what we learn when we learn to regulate the nervous system is we create new pathways, new neurological pathways, so that we can easily, when triggers come up, easily come back into a state of expansion, of joy, of collaboration, of ease. You know that, right? And when you have a conversation and it gets maybe heated up, or you get like you have self-doubts, the moment that one of the people comes back to joy or laughter or whatever, the whole conversation stops. But usually we kind of build this up, right? Like, but it's your fault, but it's your fault, but it's your fault. And then this kind of builds up. But when you can re-regulate, you can lead this conversation. You can first self-lead into a state of expansion, of joy, of confidence, and then you can actually lead the conversation, take the other person by the hand and say, hey, let's settle that in a great way where we both win.
Mhm. Exactly. That's a perfect one. Yeah. And I mean, that's really great. Yeah. So, like, one thing that I see a lot, like especially among the entrepreneurs and the high performers, like, uh, is that the addiction to the hustle. And uh, I know, like, hustle, I do not have any issue with the hustle culture and all, uh, but this is a kind of addiction which I feel. So, what do you think? Like, so many high achievers end up burning out,
Mm.
even like when they are doing work they love. So, what do you say on this?
Yeah, beautiful question again. It's so when I was about 12 years old, it was a beautiful summer day in Munich, Germany, where I grew up.
Uh-huh.
And I came home from school.
Okay.
It was a summer day in June. I came home from school and I wanted to play with my friends and go to the lake with them. I live close to a lake. And I called every one of my five best friends. I
Mm-hmm.
called them and I said, hey, you want to hang out? You want to go to the lake, maybe ride a boat? All five of them individually said, nah, I have to do something with my parents. I have to help them in the garden,
Mm-hmm.
or the other one had to do homework. And so I decided to go to the lake by myself.
Okay.
And then I went to the lake and I was standing there on the grass and the sun was shining on me.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a boat, and on that boat were the five people that a couple of hours ago I just
Mm-hmm.
called. And in that moment, like my heart sank into wherever, right? Like very deep, and my heart sank. And I promised myself that I will never feel this shitty again. And then I'm going to prove to everybody that I can make it, that I can be successful, that I can be loved. I'm going to show everybody that I am worth of love. So this was actually after I had left the companies, you know, I had exited, I realized that a lot of the drive that I had was actually driven by my own belief that I wasn't worthy of love,
Mm-hmm.
except for if I perform, if I show everybody that I'm worthy of the love. And I think this is, or I know because I've worked with a lot of people, at least a lot of clients that come to me, for them, it's true that there's this belief. And as long as we don't tackle that belief and we change the underlying neurotransmitters and hormones that get released, that's what it is. It's pretty much addiction to stress. It's addiction to the neurotransmitters and to the hormones, because the beliefs, as I said before, the thoughts fire the emotions, the thoughts fire the neurotransmitters and the hormones. And as long we don't tackle that belief and that neurological pathway in our brains, we will always run into that again. And there's been studies around high achievers and like especially founders, in the UK, over 90%, I think 96% have
Mm-hmm.
experienced mental health issues before. Stress, anxiety, insomnia, depression, stuff like that. And it's not because they're founders, they're experiencing that. It's because they have these beliefs that they get to be founders, you know? So cause and effect are actually the other way around. Obviously, we can drive ourselves to hustle hard, but where does this come from? It comes often from a belief that we are not worthy except if we're successful, if we hustle a lot, right? So what I do with a lot of clients and what's part of the expansion state method that I use is to actually go to that beliefs and revisit them, and see what beliefs are more uplifting and more serving them in their new way of life, because those beliefs have served them before, right? They have made them successful. But in their new life, when they transition, when they exit, when they feel like they're lost or empty, then these beliefs don't serve anymore. So a new kind of set of belief has to be established so they can actually start enjoying the life and living from fulfillment and living from joy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's a great one, yeah. And okay, so like this makes so sense. I mean, so much of sense. Like it's almost like we wear ourselves for the stress and forget like how to function without that. So uh, that's great. That's really great. Yeah. And I mean, also you walked away from everything that you built, like your companies, your identity as a founder, the life you knew. For so many people, that sounds terrifying, right? And uh, sometimes people can't accept that as well. So how do you navigate the identity crisis that comes with uh, leaving behind the version of yourselves that no longer fits? So
Oh
what do you say?
man, that's such a beautiful question again, and it's so important
Yes.
because for me it was, and at first I didn't really see that coming, but then there were definitely very tough moments, there were definitely tough moments where I was like, wow, okay, if like I'm walking away here,
Yeah.
right? I'm leaving my known surroundings, and I kind of rebuilt a lot of my life again. It doesn't have to be like that for everybody, right? Not everybody has to leave their company right away or has to make that huge transition and burn everything down. For me, what happened was that actually after I took the decision to go deeper with myself and to actually do that internal work, I did not know how. I did not know that there were coaches out there that could guide me, for example. So that was actually, that's something that's very different nowadays. There's a lot of coaches that can actually guide you through this transition. But for me, I didn't. I just knew I need to go, and I'm usually very brave, let's say, and I just
Mhm.
oftentimes do things and without over analyzing, which has brought a lot of good and a lot of sometimes it's also hard situations that I face.
Mhm.
Um, but that's just part of my personality. It doesn't have to be the same for everybody. What happened to me though was the moment that I took the decision, like everything just really literally burnt down. Like all of the things that weren't in alignment, like for example with one of my co-founders with the event company, we were two, and such a deep conflict came up that was not that had been building up for the last 7 years before that. We were best friends, and all of a sudden, we were fighting about how to transition, and we were fighting about the money and the shares, and we were like everybody wanted to have their right, and I was like observing that, and in a way, I just wanted harmony, but it like everything just flew apart for me. It was crazy, like it was really really intense. So how I would advise to navigate this is to first think like, who do you live for? Right? Who do you live for in the end? Because oftentimes we shy away from taking decisions um, because we are afraid to hurt the other person. But if we stay in a specific relationship or in a specific job or whatever, and we actually want to be somewhere else, and we're constantly thinking about somewhere else, and we're constantly thinking about, but I could do this, I could do that, then we're actually not really fully there. We're not giving the other person, it's for a relationship, it's for job, it's for business, it's for everything. We're not giving the other person, the job or the company, our full attention because we're constantly thinking about leaving, like we're not fully in. So that hurts the other person even more than it would if we would cut the whole thing and walk away, right? So that's the first thing to consider. Who do you live for? And
Mhm.
then the second thing to consider is definitely, you know, who do you want to be surrounded by? Think about what persons do you want to be surrounded by, and then really slowly starting going through life and seeing, okay, what are the persons that really give me energy, and what are the persons that are actually taking away energy? Because we come to a certain point in life, and a lot of people from our brain structure, we don't like when the other person changes. We don't like when they're all of a sudden talking about different stuff, or when they're all of a sudden asking themselves deep questions. A lot of like I had to walk away from a lot of friendship groups because the depth that I was seeking, I couldn't find there, right? The depth that I was seeking after that, I couldn't find there. And we're social beings. Our brain is wired to, as soon as we have somebody close to us, like a friend or a relationship, um, it's kind of like it's part of our tribe. So when they change, it's really hard for our brain to grasp. But actually, change is the only constant in life. Change is the only constant in life. We're constantly changing. The question is only, do you embrace the change or do you resist it? And when you resist, then it can get really, really messy because we're then we experience way faster burnout. We get into depression because we're actually not aligned with our lives, with the values that we want to live. So there's a mind behavior gap. The mind knows we have to do it differently, but the body, the
Mhm.
behavior, what you're doing every day is still the same. And that creates a lot of tension. So the second question, as I said, like, what people do you want to be around? surrounded by. And then think, okay, like how can I become a person that is actually surrounded by these people and that is actually surrounded by the new people, and then invest the energy into creating the new and not pushing away the old. And therefore, there's a lot of for example, I have masterminds for founders. I have group programs where people then can come form new relationship with other people, with other founders that are actually interested in the same things, so that we can form new kind of communities and groups and actually feel strong together and can walk this path together. That is definitely oftentimes, can create a lot of tension because of the old relationships.
Exactly. Lovely. And this conversation has been really an eye-opening, and thank you so much for sharing this, Matthias. And uh, so, dear listeners, we have covered everything from the illusion to success. I mean, illusion of the success to emotional mastery,
Mhm.
burnout recovery, and also like unlocking our next level of the potential. So, and what really stands out to me is this, like, success without fulfillment isn't really the success. Like, if we are constantly chasing, grinding, and running on autopilot, we might get everything we thought we wanted, only to realize that we never actually felt free. So that's what I feel, definitely. And so, Matthias, like, it's really great to have you here. And before we wrap, like, where can people find you, and how can they learn more about your work?
They can just follow me on Instagram,
Mhm.
Matthias, with double THIAS, MATTHIAS, dot Schmitt with double T, dot official. And then also on LinkedIn, I post a lot of things on LinkedIn and I share my journey there. It's Matthias Schmitt in LinkedIn. And they can find me there. They can also visit my website. It's matthiasschmitt.eu. So Matthias, again, with MATTHIAS. And then Schmitt is actually written SCHMIT. It's a really German name and quite long. But yeah, that's my website, matthiasschmidt.eu, and Instagram and LinkedIn are also awesome.
That's great. That's really great. Great. So, awesome. Like, everyone who is listening, if today's conversation has resonated with you, just don't think about it. Take action. Start questioning the stories you have been telling yourself about success, burnout, and what it really means to live your peak. So, if you have enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review. It really helps us bring the more powerful conversations like this to healthy mind and healthy life. So, with this hope, until next time, stay curious, stay present, and keep creating a life that feels just as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. So, that's great. Thank you so much, Matthias. Have a great day ahead.
Amazing, Avik. Really appreciate you. Appreciate this podcast, and a big, 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 big hug and blessings to everybody out there.
Lovely, great conversation, guys. Wow, I really love that. I was actually thinking, how shall I put that hustle culture thing into this discussion? But yeah, somehow it went well.
You did
Yes.
so well, man. Like I loved it. It was really good. In the beginning, maybe a little bit. We needed to find the way, but it was
Yeah.
great. It was great. I loved it. So good.
Thank you. So yeah, and we'll be releasing this episode in next 3 to 7 days, max to max, and we'll share the link on Podmatch. So if you can go to Podmatch now,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wait a second.
and
Uh-huh.
you will find there a button called confirm or mark complete, something like that.
Mark complete. Confirm or deny.
Confirm. So once you confirm, it'll give me the button to upload it, upload the episode.
Confirm. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Okay,
Moments.
perfect. Great, great. So yeah, and so we have 14 shows, and this is the first show, but we also have 13 more shows. You have that link, or shall I share the link also here?
To the podcast,
Yeah, yeah.
share the link again. I have it, I think, but you can share it again and
Let
I can
me
directly open it.
uh, just sharing here on Podmatch. I just shared the link. So you can go to this link and you'll see all the podcast artwork. When you click on that, it will take you to the Podmatch. So yeah.
Where is it?
Uh, I shared it on Podmatch. Shall I
On
share
podcast.
Zoom
Ah,
or
yeah,
what?
there we go. I have it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
What shall I do with that?
So you'll be able to see all our other podcast shows. Like we have 14 shows.
Ah, you have
So
14 shows. Wow. Mhm.
yeah. So when you click on that, same way, like it will take you to the pod match and you can say hi. So it will, you'll get the bookings and everything. So currently, we are four podcast hosts, myself and one of my friend, plus two more hosts
Mhm.
also. So Sana, Anya, and Saima. So three girls. So yeah, you will also love talking to them. Yeah,
That's so cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, awesome.
great.
Do you
Love.
recommend that I reach out to them or what? To be on their
I
podcast?
mean, you can select the shows which you love to.
Mhm.
And when you click on the show, it will take you to the pod match. Just say hi as a message, and they will share you the booking calendar and everything.
Ah, okay, yeah, for sure. I'll be happy to be on there for sure, for sure. It's always good. Great, I'll do that. Avik, it was so nice meeting you, even though I didn't see you. Where's your camera, man?
Because actually, I was struggling with this video setup properly. The setup is not proper, and
Okay.
currently, I had to move from one place to another, and this place is a bit messy. So that is the reason I'm not coming up on the camera. But yes, very soon I'm coming up with a better place, and from there I'll start the video one. I used to
Cool.
do videos last year, but after that I had to move, shift, and all those things. So yeah.
Yeah, all good, all good. Cool. It was so nice meeting you. Appreciate it. Anything that you want to share, that feedback, what did you like, what didn't you
No, I
like?
really love. I mean, with you talking, I never felt like yes, okay, just discussing with a very rigid and all. No, it's I mean it's I felt like yes, I'm talking to a friend. Yes, so
Mm,
that's a great part of it, and also the way you explain those things, and especially that hustle thing. I really love that. So with inputs, with the pointers, and also like I wish if you could also share some of the examples. But yes, it's all great. It's all great.
what examples do you mean?
I mean, any real life examples like the one you started with. The one where you felt on like I
Mm,
asked you about the window thing and then you shared that. So more real life examples. So basically what I felt like listeners love to know more about the real examples. They love to
okay,
know about that. So
okay, okay, okay.
but yes, it's totally correct. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, but I'll keep that in mind for the future. Thank you so much. That's great.
Great.
Awesome.
Lovely. Yeah. So
Awesome. Avik.
yeah, see you soon then on other shows, and yeah, have a great day.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. All the best. Bye bye.